How you doing? I'm TK Owens. I figured I'd make a video blog on my perspective, or from my perspective, on current events and what I see going on in the world today, and what I believe is our only logical step from here going forward. I'm going to start from the beginning. I woke up finally in about April of 1995. I was in the Army. I was 18 years old, and the Murrah building just got bombed by supposedly Timothy McVeigh. That was my first experience with the real world. Seeing the devastation that caused and the lives that affected, and the mass hysteria that it created. And I started to realize that there was something not right with that. Something didn't add up. The news at that time was literally telling us that there was more than one bomb inside the building. The very first day, the day that it was happening. I was watching that on satellite, and then I ended up going down there for the cleanup crew. But I was in high school. I was in my senior year in high school, and somebody come in and said, "Hey, somebody blew up Oklahoma City," and so quite a few of us ran to our AV room and was watching satellite TV, and watching all the news coverage and listening to Keating, Governor Keating at the time, tell us that there was reports of more than one bomb, and then the very next day, everybody telling us that everything happened from that one truck that Timothy McVeigh was driving, and only him. Something didn't add up. Now, granted, it took me years after this to even look into anything, and it took me years to wake up to the fact that my government sucks. That the country and the world that I live in right now sucks in its current format. When I grew up in, the northern part of the United States, I grew up in Oregon, and we had freedoms. I could river raft down the Umpqua, and, that was okay. I could walk down the street and go to the corner store without being asked and stopped and asked for my papers. I could go into the store with $1 and buy a candy bar and a soda, walk out, and still have money in my pocket to go back the next day to do the same thing. With $1. Now I've got to take my paycheck to the store to buy one frickin' meal. That's not freedom. I'm being taxed to breathe. What? I'm being taxed to, for a polar bear that can't swim, or supposedly can't swim, or trying to be taxed. Let me put it that way. None of this stuff has come to light as of yet, but, these are the measures that they're trying to take. They're trying to bill us for killing us. How stupid is that? I don't know about you, but I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off that even the minimal freedoms that I had when I was a kid, I've lost. I'm pissed off that the world that my children are growing up in is not the same world that I grew up in. I'm pissed off that the TSA, the FBI, are calling my founding fathers, the ones that created my freedoms, they're calling them terrorists. They're calling them terrorists because they wanted to fight against the tyrannical government of King George III and not live under his austerity. So they're terrorists because they moved to the Americas so that they could have true freedom, so that they could be free to worship the way that they wanted to worship, so that they could be free to spend their money however they saw fit, so they could be free to walk down the street without being asked for papers. So that they could be free to not be taxed every cent that they had just to call that living. That's what our government calls our founding fathers. And now, the people that believe in those founding fathers' fundamentals, people like the Tea Party, or at least the majority of the Tea Party, well, not the majority, the minority of the Tea Party, the ones that actually believe in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, now they're being called terrorists. We've got a Patriot Act that defines people like me doing what I'm doing right now as a form of domestic terrorism. Fine. If that's what it takes for people to wake up, fine. My founding fathers, if they were terrorists, sign me up for what they believed in, because I want to be one too. I want to stand for the same principles that they stood for. I want to stand for, the right to fight for what I believe in. I want to stand for fighting for my freedom if necessary. I want to stand up for my God-given right. My Bill of Rights and Constitution afforded me the right to bear arms, the right to assembly, the right to religion, the freedom of religion, freedom of speech, all of these things, and there's lots more than that, by the way, for those of you who don't know. I believe in my Bill of Rights and Constitution. I believe that if somebody were to walk through my door to tell me that they were going to take my freedoms away from me, I'd have to kill them. Or I would die trying, because I would rather die free than live in oppression. Now, am I saying that I'm going to go out and do anything stupid? No. But, fair warning to those that, may see this and think it'd be cute, come through my door and you may get shot. Period. Okay, I'm done ranting. I just wanted to kind of vent. I didn't realize how good it would be to vent like this and maybe post this, because it's the first time I've actually ever done this. But, I want the rest of my brothers and sisters, not only in the U.S., but around the world, to wake up. Wake up. I want you to see life exactly how I see it. See the potential that it has. Our life has the potential to be so great. But it's up to you. It's up to people like you and people like me who are willing to stand up and say, you know what? That's enough. I'm tired of being oppressed. I'm tired of living under a tyrannical government who doesn't care about me, who has made me collateral on its debt. And that's what we have in the great old U.S. of A., guys. For those of you who don't know what the Social Security Administration is, yeah, that's you being signed on as collateral for our nation's debt. Look it up. It's the truth. Things like that are the reason I'm so pissed off. Things like that are the reason that I've decided to stand up and say something. Because no matter what you may want to say, I'm not your freaking collateral. Okay? I'm not paying your freaking debt, government. It's your job to pay the $700 billion that you put into our debt. Bastards. You know what? My paycheck is mine. You want my money? Come take it. Try. I dare you. See, here I get out on a tirade again. I'm sorry. You know, just people wake up. Our freedom isn't free. We're going to have to fight for it. And I'm willing to do that. But I can't do it alone. And I know there's many others out there that are doing it as well, because they're the ones that I watched that had the courage to do this today. You know, there's others out there that have way more courage than I do. A lot more courage than I do. And they're a wonderful example. So if you want to join the movement and be called a terrorist like the rest of us, please do. Because you know what? Call me a terrorist. I'd rather be a terrorist and free than a normal part of society and ostracized and put in prison and are imprisoned and, you know, and go to what, a concentration camp just because they need to control the numbers. Stand up, fight for your rights, or soon there'll be no rights to fight for. I don't know how often I'll do one of these, maybe never again, I don't know. But this has been my thoughts on what needs to happen. Thanks for listening.